Hey everybody, it's the last survey program episode of Season 1. Are you excited? I'm excited. We're going to do a little talk about the preview for Chapter 5 at the start, and then we're going to talk about the next game in Substitute Games Month, Zero Parades for Dead Spies. Where there's going to be no late game spoilers in this. Really, we only talk about one even mid-game spoiler and really give that an introduction beforehand. So even if you haven't played Zero Parades, you can listen to this episode, no problem. Obviously, we'll be back to Deltarune on July 1st for the start of Season 2 with Chapter 5's release. That's going to be the initial reaction, and we'll be going weekly for the foreseeable future there on out, as long as there's new stuff to talk about Chapter 5. Please subscribe on YouTube. We're getting ever closer to that 1,000 subscriber milestone, which is really exciting. You can also listen on Spotify. You can join the Discord at the link in the description. We're going to have a spoiler channel set up in there for you to talk. And, of course, you can support the show at groupofshrike.net and get access to our bonus episodes, including Money May, where I talked to this episode's guest, Lucretia, about watching a terrible movie over 100 times. Music for this episode is from Zero Parades for Dead Spies by Fernando Cabrera. Everything's good. I got a muffin. I got an iced latte. It's breakfast program.
Can we talk about breakfast instead of all that other shit?
Yeah, sure. Why not? What's your favorite breakfast?
My favorite breakfast is egg. But I don't have egg for breakfast very often.
No, me neither. I was gonna say mine is like bacon and eggs, but I can't be fucked to cook in the morning.
Yeah, the reason why I'm a favorite is usually because that's how I know. Okay, I'm physically well enough to cook an egg in the morning. This is gonna be great.
Yeah, or I'm out at some sort of classic diner.
Yeah, some kind of classic Cheers the bar.
That's right.
So they serve egg.
I was gonna say, so normally I also just I like a donut. I just love like a plain donut.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love to
I generally don't go crazy with my breakfast. I will have just plain stuff because I like it.
Just like an old fashioned, like a cake donut with a little glaze on it. That's my usual pre-golf meal. This is the only Deltarune podcast by a golfer.
Yeah, that's probably true. I don't know any other golfers.
Andrew Cunningham doesn't play fucking golf. That's right, motherfuckers. What's your favorite game of all time?
Anywhere else? My favorite game of all time?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a real tricky one. If I had to answer favorite game that I actively play still, it would be Guild Wars 2, the only good MMO. It's also a piece of shit and it sucks. Don't play it. If I had to pick really, really specifically, it might be Ghost Trick. Ghost Trick would probably be there. I liked Ghost Trick a lot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something scary and evil to you.
Okay.
I don't play that many games.
No, that's fair. Yeah. I do a podcast about games, but I feel like I've only been playing the games that I've been doing episodes on. And okay, I do play like a frighteningly concerning amount of Pokemon Showdown, the browser Pokemon battler game. It's just a great way to kill like 15 minutes, just do a match. But I was asking this because if you catch me, most times if you ask me that question, I will answer Disco Elysium. It's either that or Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door.
I would also put that in like top 5 at least.
I want to do a whole episode on the Thousand-Year Door at some point because, Paper Mario's, I think, one of those big, like, influences, I think, on Undertale and Deltarune. But yeah, so, it's just funny because it's like you go back in time and you tell me, like, Disco Elysium, that there's going to be a Disco Elysium, like, by the same studio, and it's going to be about a fucking lesbian spy. And I would have been like, I'm gonna
Did you?
I was, well,
Can
no.
I ask that on the podcast?
No. And I was like, it took me a moment because I was like, wait, am I allowed to say that on Survey Program podcast? I don't.
It's your
I'm not.
podcast. I think
It's-
you get to make the rules.
I think so, but I don't know if what the rules should be. I don't think that I should say I'm gonna on my Deltarune podcast. So that's gonna get a little bleep. But no, I didn't.
Okay.
Because of the ambivalence that we all must have.
Yeah,
that we all, due to production circumstances. But I want to put a pin in that and say that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about, on Substitute Games Month, Zero Parades for Dead Spies, the new game by Zaum that just came out this month, and that both of us have played. But before we get into that, I want to give this is our Turkey of the Week. Our survey program Turkey of the Week is Toby Fox for ruining Substitute Games Month. You motherfucker.
Yeah. I can't really substitute anymore.
Yeah. I was like, I didn't think, I was betting so hard on there not being any Deltarune news this month, because the game was supposed to come out in the second half of the year, that I was like, we're going to do, I'll just do 2 episodes about other stuff. And people will probably have a bunch of time to play the interesting games we talk about, because they'll all be waiting for Deltarune. No, the fucking chapter is coming out on goddamn Wednesday.
Yeah, it's like 6 days.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah, that many.
Yeah,
that many. I can
6
count.
days.
It's crazy.
That's true. Can you count even further? How high can you count?
1, 2.
That's lower. That's lower than 6.
Oh, 100.
Okay, that's good.
Do you want me to? Like 1 to 100 right now?
Sure.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 12. Fuck, I gotta start over.
Okay. All right. That was a great opportunity for me to eat a little bit more muffin. That was my secret trick, because I was still hungry and I wanted to eat some more muffin. Right. So Chapter 5 is coming out. How do you feel about that?
I feel like, God, that's still in Pride Month. I think that's great.
That's true.
And I think that I think it's not the, I think it's good that it's not the second half of the year. It's the greatest joke anyone could ever do.
Yeah, just give the vaguest possible information about your release time, and then do the one thing, and then just be wrong about that.
Just very slightly be wrong about it. That's quite funny.
Yeah.
There is, there is one thing that's majorly impacting my full, unambiguous enjoyment of it. And it's that, so speaking of things that, get a general half of the year release date, Streetlight Manifesto's The Place Behind the Stars got delayed until, at earliest, the 26th of June of this year. So no sooner than 2 days after release.
If you're not familiar with this, go listen, give me $5 and go listen to Green Room, because on the most recent Green Room episode, we talked a little bit about The Place Beyond the Stars. And also Money May. Money May's over. Are you feeling free?
Well, yes, I'm feeling free, because the only thing I have to do now is like the rest of the big collab pieces, and that's fun. It's fun to do those.
And for those who didn't listen to the latest Green Room episode, Money May is a torturous event where Lucretia watches the Netflix original movie Money Plane 30 for each day of May.
Each day of May, and then some additional ones here and there. I have watched it officially, on the record, 110 times. I may have watched it a few more times outside of that. I don't remember. That was May's Green Room. We're not allowed to talk about that anymore.
Yeah.
Legally.
But yes, so it's coming out ahead of the Streetlight. Do you think that that album is actually coming out? Because it's been delayed so many times.
Look, it's been delayed since 2022. I think this is the most an album from Streetlight has been delayed. They have done similar things before, but I believe in my soul of souls that if Deltarune Chapter 5 does not have at least one ska track in it, you aren't going. You're not going to hear from me again.
Yeah, we've had ska teased to us. Imagine if Azrael comes on screen at the festival and it just starts playing religious ska. That's his theme now.
I don't want to listen to Five Iron Frenzy. If I wanted to do that, I would listen to Five Iron Frenzy and not play Deltarune.
What if Five Iron Frenzy is featured in Chapter 5?
Well, that would be impressive. Because I don't think Five Iron Frenzy has made any new music in a while.
The only thing I'm aware of Five Iron Frenzy is they were the theme song of a YouTube sketch comedy group I really liked growing up called Balloon Shop, which was very enjoyable.
Yes, they were, weren't they?
Yes, and now one of the members is a trans woman now, and another one of them is a popular YouTuber whose name is escaping me, Oren Williams, I think, or something like that. We're on topic here. We love to be on topic. Yeah.
We're talking about Deltarune Chapter 5.
So there's a trailer.
That was shit.
Yeah, so there's a trailer. We know it's going to be... I mean, we knew this already, but we know there's going to be flowers. We know there's going to be, some extensive floral themes. If you're in the show Discord, you'll see, or the show website at groupofshrek.net, you'll see I've added some flowers to the show art because we're going to start a new season in July.
Oh god, we're ending season 1 with me.
Yeah. That's right. You're the conclusion of season. Well, you were on our smash breakout success hit success win epic gym episode in season 1. So
yeah.
But
Sorry.
Yes, but we also got some screenshots of some new dialogue, including the very alarming Jockington growing the beard. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't think he should do that.
I think it's fine. I think it's like whatever happened to freedom.
Freedom. Well, I just think these long hair hippies should respect the country that they live in and shave and go fight in Vietnam.
I tried to hold it for longer. I'm really sorry.
Fuck you. No, but obviously, I just think that's one of the examples of a thing that's like really, really, just like really imposing to like a certain kind of like Deltarune lore brain that just seems like a funny joke to everybody else, and I really admire the game's ability to do that. But I don't think that I don't think that necessarily Jockington growing the beard is a sign that the roaring is impending or anything. It's just another thing that's in the prophecy.
No, the thing that I would, definitively say, has anything to do with the potential nearing of the roaring would be the game progressing.
Yes, you're right. that thing that's going to happen, that is going to happen before the end of the game, and the game is getting closer to being over, right? And also the sort of ominous, marketing talk in the newsletter about having like one last fun adventure before everything goes to shit is a little
It's really cool to just like have the words let's go on one last fun adventure and then see chapter 6 is going okay as well.
Yeah. It's much easier to develop for some reason. What do you think about that? What's going on with that? Why do you think chapter 6 is much easier to develop?
Let me think. My opinion as to why it's easier to develop is very simple. It's actually Undertale 2.
Holy fuck. I think it could be pretty significantly like remixing either earlier Deltarune chapters or Undertale. Like that's definitely a possible prediction.
Oh, it's a possibility. I have not thought about it enough. Like I if you showed me everything that there is of Deltarune right now, I like without me knowing about it previously, just chapters 1 through 4, I would have assumed that chapter 3 was the easiest to design of all of them.
Yeah.
And that evidently wasn't true.
I think it's also just possible that like they've just gotten better at it. Like, you know what I mean? Like the team is
Yeah,
just
I mean,
it's just a well-oiled machine at this point. Making things gets easier
making
over time.
effectively 5 now, like several hour long games, all within one game. You'll learn a couple things, I
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah. Um and so we're not normally a prediction podcast, but I have been, thinking about various predictions. And so I'm just going to hit you with a lightning round and you just tell me
Okay.
yes or no whether you think these things are going to happen in chapter 5, all right?
Okay.
All right. Papyrus,
No.
Azrael.
Yes, but not necessarily a physical appearance.
Okay.
We'll get something.
Yeah, like a phone call. Well, wait, all the phone lines are cut. I mean, that's an interesting. Let me think here. Apple Girlington.
Yeah, sure, why not?
That's like my biggest prediction is I think we're getting an Apple Girlington because there's the question mark on the credits for the upcoming chapter in the newsletter. There's the mystery person who's programming bullets, and it's like that's obviously the Toho guy.
Yeah.
So that's a great chance to bring our Toho guy back. I mean, so Rules didn't appear at all in chapter 4. I think this is a pretty easy yes. Rules.
Not necessarily. I mean, he was there. He just wasn't important. Yeah, Rules will show up again. Why not?
That's true. Rules wasn't in the Dark World in the new Dark World in chapter 4. I guess I should say.
Yeah.
Let me think. Undyne.
No.
Yeah, I think that might be more of a deeper end game type of thing.
Yeah.
And like final confirmation of the knight's identity.
No.
Yeah, I also think that's a little later. All right, that's our lightning round. So that's chapter 5. We're gonna do my first reactions on it on July 1st. That's 1 week after release. There will be a spoiler policy in the Discord until then. And then we'll have a bunch of episodes. We'll go back to weekly and have a bunch of episodes from panelists. Fucking epic reaction videos.
I love those.
Yeah. To the new chapter that we don't know what's in it yet. And so that's our chapter 5 piece. Let's go back to Substitute Games Month that Toby ruined and talk about Zero Parades. I didn't dislike the music in Zero Parades, but I kept thinking, it's by Fernando Cabrera, and it's very like free experimental jazz style. But I did. This is the first item that I'm gonna bring in. What's gonna be a pretty recurring theme for me in this game of that it's hard for it to get out of the shadow of Disco Elysium.
Oh, absolutely.
Like it's basically impossible for it to do so, and the soundtrack is one of those items where it's just like, I wish I was listening to the Whirling in Rags theme right now. I wish I was listening to Red Rock Rivera right now. Like I appreciate that instead of going for like a C power sound without C power, there's a whole totally new direction.
Yeah.
Like that's I appreciate that. And just overall, I do think the game is pretty different from Disco Elysium. It's obviously in the same engine with the same mechanics, but I do think it was admirably trying to do something new. And I guess before we do anything, the first thing that you have to talk about when you talk about Zero Parades is like, part of the reason why I wanted to do an episode on this game was because I think discussion on this game has basically not advanced beyond the question of, is it ethical to play this game? Which I think is a really boring question.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Steam guides and the Steam discussions, it has been the same loop of shit since release.
Yeah. And it's like, if you have ever, basically any type of like thing that you've liked, any sort of art of any kind that has received a commercial release, I promise you, no matter what it is, there's some sort of shitty CEO somewhere in the chain along the way to getting that to you. Like, it's like there is something wrong and something exploitative, almost certainly, unless you are really, really saying to yourself, like, I'm gonna live in a cave and I'm only gonna play like solo dev, like itch.io, like, you know, game jam things. And even in that case, probably most of those devs are exploiting themselves and undervaluing their own work. But like,
I mean, you can't really use itch.io as an example on account of
true.
the web domain issue.
It's true, exactly. It's like no matter what delivery mechanism you are using to get art commercially into your body, there is going to be some sort of problem. And the fact that like Zaum's problems are very public and involve, you know, famous authors, right, brought a lot of attention to it. And I guess I was talking on the last episode about like how real I want to get about this, but it's like I've been around, I've done several, you know, commercial indie projects in my time, and they have almost all been total disasters that involved a lot of exploitation along the chain. And I think I'll just leave it at that in terms of details, right? But that doesn't mean that the people who followed me on those projects, or the people who were like, you know, picking up and doing the next things along, were wrong to do that, right? And so I guess that puts me in a position of being more sympathetic to the artists and the writers and the developers that worked on this game, because it's like, I just don't think that, like, I don't know. There's two things here. First off, it's that like basically the entire indie space is full of like situations like the Zaum situation that just don't get a lot of attention, and most people just labor on an exploitative silence. The problem is the fucking commodity form, dumbass. And second, I would be a lot less comfortable with this if it was a game in the Disco Elysium setting, right? Because that is something that is like really personal to Robert Kurvitz and his close collaborators. It's his old tabletop RPG setting, right? This is not that.
And it's a book that he's published.
Yes, exactly. And so like that I would not play or enjoy it if it was like taking somebody's personal setting from them and making a new story in it. That would suck ass. I would not be interested in that. This is not that. The only thing that carries over here are game mechanics, which are not, despite what Nintendo may be trying to do to destroy Bad Game Pal World, are not copyrightable. Like they are not, I don't believe in the intellectual property, quote unquote, of game mechanics. You know, I don't believe that the Nemesis system should be reserved to orcs in Lord of the Rings. It's to quote a famous example. And so I am perfectly comfortable with moving on and saying, you know, this is a new story with new writers in a new setting that has mechanical and engine similarities and some carryover of staff. I haven't done like a one-to-one credits comparison. We really need a game's IMDb that's actually good. That makes it easier to do these sort of things.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck, right? But you know, there are some members of both the development and art and also voice acting crew from Disco Elysium that carry on over here. But we do have, it's a new story, and there are mechanical similarities, right? There's 3 categories of skills with multiple entries in them each that all speak to you, right? The narration is provided by your skills. And it differs based on your levels in those skills. I think this was introduced by Disco Elysium, and it's been a pretty revolutionary idea in the game space. You know, there's been several sort of disco likes now. You know, you have Citizen Sleeper, you have Esoteric Ebb, you have my favorite, my personal RPG. I was about to say my personal favorite, Lovely Lady RPG, which is a magnificent game that I think this is the one time a lot like Zero Parades was kicked around a bit by people taking quote unquote cringe screenshots of its dialogue out of context and passing it around, which I think is a very unfair way to treat a deep narrative text. But yeah, I love Lovely Lady RPG. Maybe I'll do a whole episode on Lovely Lady RPG one day because it's actually it's a really tremendous game that I love. But this is so Zero Parades, and we're not doing in-game spoilers unless we talk about it at the very end. So I'll say that at the top as well. But like Zero Parades, it's a new setting, and I think critically it's a little further forward in time.
It's very explicitly like end parts of Cold War.
Yes, exactly. It's like around like it's like the Berlin Wall falling-ish time. It's it's explicitly set in, quote, the end of history, which in the setting refers to a treaty that was worked out between the great powers that basically calcified it rather than the end of history as in our world, referring to the Fukuyama concept of like the post-Cold War liberal dominance of global institutions with no real ideological struggle between nations, just a material struggle between nations. One of the most misinterpreted theories of all time. People are all the time implying intent to Fukuyama that's not there. But rather in this setting refers to sort of a permanent Cold War, right? Sort of an endless realm of mostly non-military conflict that creates a perfect playground for spies.
And boy, howdy, are there a lot of them in Zero Parades.
There are a lot of spies. It basically seems like the most common job is spy.
Yeah. To the point where you are talking about it everywhere you go.
It's true. Well, it seems like so it's like in Portofino, in the setting of this game, is very much on the knife edge of influence between multiple powers, right? It's it was an
ex-colony that was communist, and it tried to join the capitalist industry faction.
And there was a little bit of like it went from communist to a sort of like personalist dictatorship that bears some similarities to like Peronism or what have you. Those like very individualist, like developmentalist regimes. And you get to sort of explore the history of that setting and its political development. But like it's the knife edge right now. It's like it's the inflection point between multiple powers, and so there are the republics, the people's republics that you're the representative of. You're part of the OPRA, which is the communist spying bureau, and also in this territory are IMTER, which is like the Empire Sans Territoire, which is like the international finance. And then the biggest point, what's going on in Portofino is that La Luz, which is techno-fascist, sort of debutante onto the global stage, like an aspirant at greater power striking at the developed world, is performing what's basically a cultural invasion of Portofino by flooding it with music, with TV, with bootleg clothing, right? It's overwhelming the culture of Portofino with these new shiny plasticky objects, and so it's kind of a similar analog to like there's like L-pop, there's like Losing Pop, which is very like K-pop, right? It's kind of like it's like a Korean soft power culture industry stapled to fascist Spain, sort of.
Yeah, and also like Pinochet.
Yes, absolutely.
Deals.
And the rumors abound that the leadership class of La Luz are all duplicates of one another. That they all are like that they're like a hive mind or something like that. That are all like that they reproduce the philosopher that founded techno-fascism, Anonimo, and that's one of the things that I really felt. That's one of those examples, alongside the fact that there is all these almost quasi supernatural espionage maneuvers that you do, the advanced cognitive maneuvers. That one of the first things that pipped to me as a difference in the setting, not just the time advance, but also the fact that there's a lot more like weird psychic supernaturally stuff sort of almost foregrounded in this setting than in Disco Elysium.
You hear from a nameless NPC very early on that there's shit going on the moon.
There is.
It's awesome. And it's like not even that exciting, the things that you talk about.
They're just up
It is
there
very
mining.
fantastical. It is mining and shit, and sometimes you leave.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Um,
It's pretty good, I'll be
yes, it
honest.
is. And I thought the setting was quite interesting and quite well realized. Obviously, it's, it's pretty broad, sketchy, allegorical stuff in a lot of ways. I think one of the main things that I thought was a big drawback was, Disco Elysium was one of the games that was most obviously written by annoying communists of any game of all time. Um,
Hmm.
and that means people with a sort of deep understanding of communism, which you have to have in order to be annoying about communism generally. Um, and I would say that mostly the republics are mostly off screen, are basically entirely off screen. Nothing that's said about them fully coheres into something that completely makes sense for me. Or the
Yeah,
way, I mean, you're not in a communist region in this game, but it definitely felt to me like this game was not written by people who really had a firm grasp on what communism was, or mostly thought about it like like uh like co-op-y. They thought it was like co-op-y or unionism.
which you could explain some of it by being very specifically, late Cold War. We're in the Gorbachev era,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
like the liberalization. On the other hand, when you do encounter, representatives or greater, information sources from the other factions, no one really has anything.
Yeah.
None of this is. It doesn't. None of it feels like it's fully understood. Which again, that could also just be like a thing about the game and its story itself. Like we're in a weird socio-political environment, especially in Portofino. Shit is changing. End of history bullshit. The liberalization of the big Soviet bloc. The you know this great new big new empire. But like, God, do I not learn a single thing really about anything? We get buzzwords. You get
Yeah.
buzzwords. That's about it.
And I mean, there is also, like, I do want to, I guess, give a sympathetic reading and say part of the point is that you as a spy are almost like an unthinking arm of Empire that doesn't really have a lot of
Yes.
ideological freedom in and of itself. Like you're part of events, but you never really get a full understanding of them. And I do appreciate that from a sort of spy fiction perspective of, like,
Absolutely. That's one of the strengths. Like
yeah,
I didn't learn anything in a bad way because I don't think the writing had it
yeah,
using that word specifically, but also in no situation are you as a single person in this fucked up political chess game going to have not all of the answer. You're barely even going to have like one or two answer,
yeah.
big picture or small picture. You are going to talk to guys and you're gonna make your own impression. That's it. And that's what happens throughout the entire game. So that's good.
And I think one of the interesting things too that makes this very not, one of the biggest contrasts with Disco is that while Harry Dubois in Disco Elysium had a defined past and was a defined character, he doesn't remember any of it at the start, right? You're amnesiac at the
Yeah.
start, and so you are, the amount of information that the character has about himself and that you have about the character are the same at the beginning, right? Um,
Mhm.
Whereas with Herschel, with Cascade as her code name, great code names in this game, by the way, absolutely
Very good.
baller code names.
Spectacular.
Yes. As like this is a character with a defined past who remembers it all, and so there's actually a gap, which is it's very interesting in a game as like with a sort of game engine is psychologically um exposed as this like skills based talking system is, to have a gap between what the player character knows and what the player knows about the character is an interesting thing. And so you're finding out about Herschel's past and sort of help you do have some choices about how she feels about it. And so some background on Herschel, she's returning to where it all went wrong. Basically, she's returning to Portaferro, where her previous operation got blown up by the Lusian secret police 5 years ago, scattering all of her informants to the winds, killing some of them. And in those 5 years, she's been in the records division in cold storage since then, right? Just basically on ice.
That's what, as punishment in prison, basically.
Yeah. Yes.
You fucked up. Get killed.
Yeah. And and this is 5 years later. You're returning to the scene of the to this scene, a chance to redeem yourself, and you show up, and it's all fucked already.
Which is a good hook.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great hook. I was immediately, as soon as I started to piece that together, as soon as I encounter, as soon as you encounter your double, your partner on the case, on the assignment, Pseudopod, slumped over in his chair with no pants on, completely comatose.
This thing's swanging. It's great.
It's he's got briefs on. It's yeah, I was just like, oh shit, you're fucked already. Like, and you're just struggling to pick up the pieces after that. And your main contact in Portaferro, Tempo Lasur, has been killed. And then you've got to you just have to like try to piece together what's going on with extremely limited instructions from there. And you do that by going around and talking to people. And I thought, it took me a little while to get to the map is very labyrinthine.
Yes. I have many thoughts on that.
Yeah, go on. I've been talking too much.
from multiple angles. So, like, in Disco Elysium, there are a lot of game mechanics that reinforced what was going on with the world or the character in unspoken ways. The most prevalent thing that I could think of is the usage of drugs for Harry Dubois.
Yeah.
You may encounter at various points in the game that you are struggling to do literally anything unless you start taking drugs.
Yeah.
And it is established Harry Dubois has a substances problem. A thing in Zero Parades, it also has drugs. It's less important. My entire run, 30 hours, I didn't use them once. I was fine. They are not as important. But
I sniffed the coke off Tempo's desk for good luck.
I did that on a separate save. I wanted to see how well I could do without touching anything, and I did the whole game. The map in Zero Parades, it is very labyrinthine. There are parts of it that are definitely technical limitations. The game at the moment is very, very buggy. It has a lot of jank. Primarily, I could point out specifically coming from north to south in Party Avenue. Sometimes half of the map will just not load right outside the fog mirror, specifically there. There's also like collision issues. There's sometimes like the automatic running across jumping points. It will or won't happen. Sometimes you get stuck. Also, the map that you are given by pressing M in the menu is less legible when you zoom into it using the highlight thing. Everything is white on white. It is not helpful at all. It sucks to look at. And this is going to be a little bit of a spoiler, I guess, technically. Space and time are both quite important. You will notice as you play Zero Parades, time does not advance unless you perform certain actions, usually talking, usually with NPCs and stuff like that, sometimes environments. Which, that eventually does become like a major thing to bring up. The way that Portaferro is, it is very labyrinthine. There is a lot to be said about how terrifying it is to be brought out of cold storage and all of a sudden be thrust into this information where you're clearly being lied to, but you don't know how much, and all you can do is walk around this place And no matter what you do, even if you walk from one side of Portofino to the other, time is not progressing, and you still can't do other things, and you don't have power over anything.
Yeah.
That's like extremely cool. As like an unconscious or unspoken part of the world. It does get spoken on later, obviously,
Yeah.
somewhat. But it is a very strong thing. I think it is limited somewhat, because there are ways of getting around it, basically. Not even like there's always something to do. I mean, like, there is a version of this that doesn't have fast travel, like as a point, and I think having that would be awesome. There is one part of Portofino. There's this big silo where you do have to, oh yeah, you can only fast travel while you're outside.
Yeah.
And the big silo in one of the districts where to get to basically one of the only important parts of it, you have to go down several flights of stairs, and
Yes.
it takes a long time.
Yes.
And that's
There's
great.
so many stairs,
And
dude.
there's so many stairs. I know we want to leave spoilers, but like I have a very particular part I want to bring up about this. Can I can
Yeah,
I
all right.
spoil at this
All right.
point?
All right.
So in this silo, you meet one of Cascade's old assets, like specifically her old double, a
Yes.
guy by the name of Holocene.
My
Um,
favorite.
one of one of the many who has gone supposedly missing. You get a mysterious fax from him, and he tells you, "I'm at the bottom." Well, someone tells you, "I'm at the bottom of this silo." It turns out to be him. He has his own quest, which towards the end he asks you to he asks you to trepan him. He asks you to do trepanning on him because he thinks there's something in his head that is leaking information and makes him unsafe.
Yeah.
So I killed him on purpose.
That was the
And
only save scumming I did was when I killed him. That's on my
oh,
first playthrough anyway.
I deliberately equipped clothes that reduce the stats that would help me for that one. Because I couldn't find like a very direct do this on purpose thing,
Yeah.
which is another issue that I have. But like, so I put a drill into his head and he dies. And this is after using a technique that lets me speak to his inner consciousness, and he's begging for help,
Yeah.
and I kill him on purpose. Then you have to walk out all the way up those stairs past this grandpa who's just doing his daily jogging. That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
I like that a lot. I think this is also, I can't remember. I think you might not be automatically sprinting in that area. I think you might be auto walking. I'm not sure, but like it's so suffocating. And I think there is so much that could be done with this sense of space where you could walk anywhere and nothing is different no matter what you do, unless you put yourself into this stupid game that you don't understand. That could be even better. But as it is, very good using
Yeah.
that example with Holocene, as like a star example.
Yeah. Yeah, like when there's friction put at you, I think it's very compelling. And
Yes.
very much you can't do everything in this game. Like there's some extreme points of divergence where you really do either maybe even less consciously. Like sometimes there are points where a whole avenue is foreclosed to you and you don't even fully understand that that's what happened. Like
Mm-hmm. Yep.
like your second, you like your meetings with Silhouette, who's one of the I'm not gonna go deep into the spoilers, but who is a the Imter agent in the arena in Portofino. Like both, your encounters with her are very very important, really determine how the plot goes, and you don't really know that, and you're kind of at the mercy of your skill checks at that point, and you don't get to go back and
Mm-hmm.
prepare for them either.
Yep. When you are in a dialogue tree with person or object, you cannot save, you cannot change your equipped items, you cannot eat things. You are stuck unless
Yep.
it gives you a leave option. Even that has the risk of advancing time.
And all this leads up to, in the end game, and I'm not going to talk about specific end game spoilers here, but just to say that, like, in the end game, you have options for who you're bringing with you on the final part of the mission, and there's you bring 3 assets along, and there's 6 total, and so really you get a totally different set depending on the choices that you make, and some of those options are only available based on the decisions that you made earlier in the game at earlier inflection points. And so the ending is, it's a completely different structure, depending on who you bring with you and which of your assets you really pick.
Yep.
And I think that was really interesting. And when this is another difference with Disco Elysium. In Disco Elysium, you have Kim, right? You have this grounding figure in your party almost all the time. That is a very direct part of your he's the most important part of the game. He's like your lens for the world and your lens for understanding what's normal. And Herschel is very much on her own in comparison to that, right? Herschel is going around by herself most of the time, but has, you get to assemble a party that sort of goes to your, to your bar, to the bar where you hang out. You get to assemble a much larger party than just one person. And so you don't ever have anybody following you around like an actual party member. But you do have collaborators on various quests throughout the game that, then get to come in at the end.
Mm-hmm. And that's good.
Yeah.
I like that as, a part that reinforces that horrible, you are just one individual in a completely incomprehensible situation.
Yeah.
The most you get, is... there are a couple of places where you can have a hub with your guys that you have met.
Yeah.
But even then, you don't get much out of them.
And you also have this relationship. So just like in Disco Elysium, there's a woman on the phone. There's a woman who lives in the telephone. And so I think that's one of those rare, one-to-one comparisons. But unlike in Disco where... the woman on the phone represents your ex-wife, the past, the apricot scented woman. The woman on the phone in Zero Parades is your controller, Melita, who is your one point of access for trying to understand what's happening to you, and also Herschel is pretty obviously in love with.
Oh yeah.
And I have a girlfriend. She lives in the telephone is one of your dialogue options at one point.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. And I really, really, really liked that. I really liked their interactions with each other. There's one, this is pretty early on, but there's one particularly poignant scene where they're, because they've never met each other in person, right?
Yep. Never in person.
They've clearly known each other for years. And there's this unspoken connection. And I think it's, I don't know, there's this beautiful scene where they talk about, maybe having been on the same train at some point without ever knowing. And I think I thought that was just, I was like, that was, when I was playing that was one of those early scenes where I was like, yes, this is pretty sublime. This game is capable of doing pretty sublime things, that I really appreciate it.
If I had to give a quick couple of sentences to sum what I think is good about it, it's this is a very competently strung together spy story. It's got drama. It's not a bad, I go and watch a Columbo episode. I don't expect ideological perfection from it. It's a good who did it, how get him. Yeah. I like Columbo, and I like this for many of the same competencies.
I never watched a Columbo. I haven't gotten into Columbo, which is crazy because I think I would really like Columbo.
It is very, very fun.
Yeah. I liked Peter Falk in The Great Muppet Caper. That's one of my favorite movies of all time.
I like Peter Falk in The Princess Bride, and also you may struggle to believe this, Columbo.
I'm gonna watch. Actually, I've got the Wim Wenders movie that he stars in, Wings of Desire. I just got it from the video store here, so I'm gonna watch that sometime this week. I'm looking forward to that.
Zero Parade's final rating 0 out of 100 Falks does not have Peter Falk in it.
0 Peter Falks. It does have, I would say, an array of really great voice performances. I thought the voice acting was
Yes.
overall really good. I know a lot of people don't like the narrator voice, and I know it's obviously nothing's going to beat the smooth tones of Linval Brown for narrating your game. I actually liked the narrator. I thought she was fine.
I did like her. I think there are some very specific deliveries that are weak and some that are very strong.
Yeah.
Like they're going to add more, and they said they're going to add, re-recordings and stuff, because there's a
Yeah.
lot of voice dialogue that's missing.
And there's a lot of, you can also trace rewritten lines because there's a lot, and this happened in Disco Elysium as
Yes.
well many times. There were a lot of times where the voice over does not match the line in the game.
Yeah.
Um,
And like
but no,
there's even like a couple of instances where you can tell the voice actor got a different microphone.
yeah.
Um,
And there's also, I mean, some of the skills have slightly different audio processing effects to differentiate them from each other a
yes,
little bit.
that is deliberate.
Yes, which I liked. I thought the skills, it took me a little while to warm up. Obviously you love the Disco Elysium skills. Shivers in Disco Elysium is like one of my favorite things of all time. But I ended up quite liking the skills. I didn't think they were quite as distinct character voices, most of them, as the skills in Disco Elysium. A lot of them are very similar categories. I mean, Entanglement is basically the same as Shivers was, sort of.
Yeah.
Shivers was sort of split into Entanglement and Blueprints. And obviously you have Statehood, which is like the stupid, annoying, like chauvinist communist voice in your head that speaks in all caps all the time, which is funny. You have I liked Doppelgang was funny, sort of the violence
I love Doppelgang.
yeah. And I think my favorite was Entanglement, as a big Shivers head. I really liked those glimpses of what's going on elsewhere or in the past or in the future.
Yeah. I think mine would be Doppelgang or Entanglement. I have some fondness for parts of Grey Matter as well.
Yeah.
Because there are just some very stupid sentences that they made her say for it. Like on successes and fails and passives and everything.
Yeah.
You can get some really dumb shit read to you. It's I like it.
My actual review is this. If you treat it, if you're comparing it to Disco Elysium, it's not as good. If you're comparing any video game to Disco Elysium, it's gonna look bad, pretty much. There's like 4 games ever made that I think look good in comparison to Disco Elysium on my list anyway. It's like Kentucky Route. There's like Kentucky Route Zero, Immortality. I don't know, like Caves of Cute and Dwarf Fortress, although they're doing very different things. Like Deltarune's not as good as Disco Elysium. Sorry to say that on my Deltarune podcast, but like as that, it doesn't need to be as good as Disco Elysium to be a game that's worth your time, in my opinion. And I thought, especially
Absolutely.
like the final third, my heart was pumping the whole time, and it was super, super exciting and thrilling. Like it really does. I think there's a big, slow, and sometimes ambiguous middle where sometimes you don't know what you're doing, but once all the pieces get into place, it really rocks. And I went from just sort of like, enjoying it, sort of, but with reservations, to by the end being like, I think this game is sick. And I'm willing to go to the mat and say that it's a good game that's worth your time. And that's where I'm at. It doesn't have to be as good as Disco to be better than most games that come out.
Yeah, I would concur. It is a good game. Like I said, it's a good, mystery spy type of thing. If you're, annoying in the same way that I might be ideologically, it's going to rub you a little bit wrong. There are moments that I would say where there are parts of it that do attempt to emulate Disco, writing wise at the very least.
Yeah.
That, there's some of the same people involved. You're gonna get that. There are times where it just feels dissonant, really, which I think is a drawback, because there's very clearly so much that these people can do that is fantastic without trying to be, the funny dialogue loop that you can get killed with Measurehead or whatever.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Beyond that, I got frustrated a lot by there is a lot of outside of all that there is quite a lot of wait, did that just happen? Dialogue choices. I was encountering them every 5 minutes, which I didn't love. But that contrasted against a lot of stronger stuff. There was just like a lot of. It was like Danganronpa, how after every new thing is revealed to you, they go, "So you did this, right?" Over and over and over again.
Yeah.
It was almost Chris Pratt quippy.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. But then there was like Houseman, who I got to listen say the coolest shit ever.
Houseman is so awesome. What a great voice performance too.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely awesome.
Number one guy.
Yeah, he's really, really great. Yeah, I can totally see that. I think it's definitely a lot better when it's a little more down to earth, a little less flowy prose wise. Although one of the poem that you get during the space sequence about the angel did get me. That got me. That was really good.
It was good.
And you know, it hits some pretty big highs. And I think overall, like, my response to this is like, there's not going to be one canonical Disco Elysium 2, right? Circumstances that befall
it's not going to happen.
Almost every beautiful indie project have befallen this, and you know, nothing is going to happen exactly as people wanted. And instead, you know, 100 discos are going to bloom, and some of them are going to involve people from the original team, and some of them, like Esoteric Ebb or Lovely Lady RPG, will be totally new people who were inspired by Disco Elysium to make this, right? And we're going to get a constellation of games that were inspired by this. It's like a Velvet Underground. Only 100 people bought Disco Elysium, but all 100 of them made their own narrative RPGs. But like, and I think that this is, in the end, it's going to be a pretty credible star in that constellation. It's not the end all be all. It's not the, you know, it's not the it's not the definitive sequel to Disco Elysium or anything. But I do think that gaming is going to be better for the things that have already released and the things that are still in the works, from, you know, the aftermath of the explosion of Disco Elysium.
Yeah. Like, even if you want to say it like this, like, a quite bad Disco Elysium, like, is still pretty good, all things considered. Like, I played, 30 plus hours of this.
Yeah.
I was having a great time the whole time.
Yeah.
I was engaged, through good and bad. I thought about it. I'm here. I'm talking about it. I'm willingly doing this.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think there was a lot to talk about.
Yeah, this was not a torture episode. This was actually, I really enjoyed playing this. I looked forward to my sessions playing this game.
I kind of want to do a second run.
Yeah, I did. You know, I went and got multiple endings. I went and saw how after I did my first run, I went and I was saving over the course of it to like bookmark things that I wanted to see how they turned out different ways. Yeah. And I was pretty satisfied by the replayability of it. I think there's a lot of different things you could see in this. And it is very, I think it's very mechanically mature. I think you're feeling, it feels very, the skills feel very good. I thought the conditioning system was better than the Thought Cabinet in terms of customizability of your run, and what you have to do to keep those bonuses. I liked that a lot.
I think it's also very funny that there's a thought that stops you from manually saving, and there's a thought that adds an additional options menu button. That's funny. Yeah. As much as I think the momentary dips into the pool of meta-narrative in this are quite weak and annoying, those are fun in general.
I think they worked because they went mostly through Bagman, who's a hilarious character.
Yes, that's like the saving grace, but on the other hand, I don't want to be in a dialogue tree where it's like, have you noticed your time doesn't move unless I talk to you? Well, here it goes, here it goes, here it goes. I get it.
Yeah. Fair enough.
If it was Bagman being weird for that initial explanation, it would have been better.
Yeah.
Like I said, like with the space thing, with various other things, there's a lot of very competent stuff here, and I think there are pretty easy ways that it could be improved upon.
Yeah.
It's very clear that there are rewrites going on, and there's going to be plenty of changes to the game in the coming time. I look forward to that, honestly, if they do anything major like that. There's many different things they could better or just more contextualize or recontextualize totally. I think there's so much that could be interesting either way, which I guess is, a big mark in the good column for this one, because I'm saying this. I'm saying, yeah, I think I would want to see what more they do with it. Whatever that may be.
Broadly, I'm just like, I hope that the people talk about this game and talk about it actually as a game and talk about it beyond the surface level. Should you or should you not play it because is it ethical to play it or not? I'm like, you're not a good person or a bad person for playing Zero Parades or not playing Zero Parades.
If you want to be that rigid, being on the computer isn't ethical.
Yeah.
You're fucked if you're doing that.
You're probably listening to this on Spotify, which collaborates with ICE, or YouTube, which has fucking made a whole generation of fascist youths or whatever. Like,
if you're typing in the Discord server, you're using Discord.
You're using Discord. Congrats. You're metaphorically next door to all the mass shooters.
Congratulations. Like,
join the Discord, everybody.
Join the Discord. Thinking about this in that form of ethics is not a useful way to talk about this or anything. It is a roundabout that you don't want to get caught in.
Yeah. Oh, the Czechs scored. All right. Did you bet it all on the Czech Republic?
I'm cashing checks for the Czech Republic.
All right. That's right. Lucretia's a spy for the Czechs. They didn't even know that they still did spying.
Yeah, I'm not very good at it.
What would your spy code name be?
My spy code name, I think it might be Grief.
Okay, that's good. I like that. That's really good.
What would yours be?
I guess Shrike. It's got to be Shrike, right? You got to just say.
Oh yeah, obviously.
I mean, come on. Yeah.
if you couldn't choose Shrike, what would you pick?
That's a great question.
You got to do it. You got 10 seconds before.
I got 10 seconds. I got 10 seconds.
The bomb's about to go off.
Alligator.
Alligator. Yeah.
All right. There we go. I don't know where that came from. I guess I'm from the swamps of North Florida.
Yeah. And I'm from Grief.
You're from Grief. I was gonna say you could be janitor.
I've used janitor as a code name for characters when I've written stuff, so I can't do that. I already named myself after a character I made, so I'm not allowed to do that.
Me too. Kate is from Kate McTyrus, who was the character in my SCP Foundation stories before I started going by Kate.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave mine a secret, but I'm gonna tell Kate afterwards.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. See you in the outro, and see you after Chapter 5. Bye! All right, that's it for Season 1 of Survey Program. Thanks to everybody who supports the show at groupofshrike.net for extra Green Room episodes. Thanks to all the YouTube subscribers, listeners on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, wherever you get your pods. Thanks to everybody in the Discord. I look forward to Chapter 5 and everything that comes next with you. This has been a really fun first 29 episodes. And it's been great to come back and podcast again with all of you. So let me get a little sappy for a sec and just say that I really appreciate all of the listeners, all of the panelists, all the folks sending in comments, everybody who's made this such a fun time. And what an exciting time. You know, we're here on the week right before Deltarune comes out, and we're on the verge of something brand new, and we don't know what we're going to see. And it's so great to be able to share that with all of you. So I hope you have a wonderful time listening to this slightly out of the usual schedule episode, and we'll see you on Wednesday, July 1st for the start of Season 2 and the post-Chapter 5 world.
Strike Amalgamated General Productions GmbH.